Here we go for another Daytona stream. Today we're gonna work a little bit on, I think, just messing around with WSL2 and Windows and providing some feedback for this ticket. So WSL2 support. There's a couple different ways that this could work, but I wanted to just poke around and check out how some other folks do it. So Docker is actually probably the most complex of them. So if we go get Docker desktop, pull this in here. Then we go to settings. Where is it? I don't think it's builders. Here we go, WSL2 integration. So you enable the integration with the default, and then you can actually enable it for other distributions as well. You can like turn it on for, I have two, I have Ubuntu and Nix. Ubuntu is my default, so it gets picked up here. But if we actually go look at what this does, so if we go to this side and go to mount and WSL, you'll see that actually WSL or Docker creates like a bunch of actual directories within this WSL mount directory. And that's how it passes back and forth everything, so including binaries. So the binaries are actually in the CLI tools within this distro. So they automatically get mounted in, and so if you go look at which Docker, it's gets put into user bin, but if you check out that, it's actually a link, a symlink to the mounted directory. And so what you're actually typing when you type Docker is you're actually typing you're getting, you could do the same thing with, I guess, Docker exe, since Docker exe should be on your path. Because in WSL you can actually run Windows binaries inside of WSL, which is really wild because you can actually you can take the output of those things and use actual command line tools to mess with it. So it's fairly awesome. There's another tool that does this, which is actually Code does this. So Code, I think, is on the path. So when this is my path for WSL2, and you'll notice it's huge and ungodly. And that's because the Windows path is actually appended in here and translated over into the mount directories. So everything that's in my Windows path is actually in my WSL2 path as well. And so this is a little bit hectic, but especially since I've got Homebrew, I've also got Nix in here. I didn't realize I had Nix enabled in my Ubuntu. Here's Docker. Here's the GitHub CLI. But the GitHub CLI is actually in here, I think, a couple of times. So it looks like something is sourcing it and appending it, which is probably not great. There is a limit to how big your path can be. So at some point I'll have to figure out why that's happening. It's probably something my dot files are doing. But let me show you how I do this currently. So if we actually go into my dot files, go into Zeesh, I've got Daytona Zeesh in here. And the way that my dot files work is that any file that ends in Zeesh will get sourced into the dot files run. So it automatically picks up everything, and it doesn't have an order that it does that in. So if you need a specific order, this won't necessarily work. I can show you later how you could fix that. But anyway, so I can drop anything in here with a .zeesh, and it'll automatically take care of it for me. So let me make this bigger so everybody can see it. But what I've got is a check. So if the uname includes Windows, it means that we're in WSL. And then if there's a command on the path, Daytona exe, then go ahead and alias Daytona to Daytona exe. So this should absolutely work. And then also we could do which Daytona.exe. And we could take this and we could do link bin Daytona to that. Oh, let's do this again. Link this to that. And now this should also work, so that if you've got bin Daytona, it just works. It's the same, it's more or less the exact same behavior. And of course, you can always type Daytona exe and it'll also find it. And so I think the easiest thing to do is actually just to document this. The second thing to do would be to have a script or a target for, like a command line target for, like, or maybe in the config file, where it would check to make sure the path is linked. Update would probably have to do it. And make sure that it's always there. So I don't know how often. I think Docker probably checks every time it updates to make sure that the binaries are installed, or potentially every time that WSL2 starts, it does that. But that's what's happening. So it's pretty interesting how that works. I don't have a lot to talk about. One of the things I want to do is I want to work on a plugin. I don't know that we've got the plugin architecture documented in such a way that we can talk about it yet, or I can start to write one. Let's see. Providers, plugins. More details coming soon. Yeah, so I don't think we're ready to write the plugin yet. And I checked in the and there's not any tickets that I'm going to pick up. I'm not really able to spend a lot of time on Daytona, so I can't take big tickets that would take a lot of time. So let me actually check out. So we're going to fetch. It's my YubiKey. We're going to get rebase upstream main. Get push origin main. Yeah, I'm carrying a patch right now, so I was trying to test. We could go see if it worked. I don't know that it works on other. I was trying to see if Dependabot would do anything, but I don't actually see that Dependabot has done anything, so I think it's fine to rebase that away, make it go. So we can, what we can do is just get reset hard main upstream, and then get, now we'll have to force push to fix origin main, which is mine. And now we should, if we go back here, it should be actually up to date. Cool. Hello to whoever has joined. I'm just messing around in the Daytona code base. So one of the things I wanted to work on, I think, was profile. There's some commands that don't behave how I would expect. I know what I'll do. Let's go get. We'll go get this. Make this bigger for y'all. Reopen it in a container. So it should go ahead and pull down. Oh, we're still using the, we're not using the pre-built yet. So we need to build the actual dev container. So I have a patch in that will move Daytona to a pre-built image, which should cut about 5 minutes off starting a new. Oh, what do we got? Let's go see. Yeah, this is a problem with Docker on. Known problem with Docker on. At least I think it's a known problem. Docker on WSL. For whatever reason, that never works. So we can retry this and it'll just work this time. Docker updates that file back like every time it updates. It puts that cred store in, which is a way that it manages its credentials. But for whatever reason, VS Code, when I run Docker in VS Code, the paths don't get set up right. That thing never gets found, and you end up having to delete it. So I just delete it. I don't use Docker Hub, so I never really need to be logged into my Docker instance. I use GitHub container registry for my projects. It's just super easy to push from a GitHub action, so that's what I use. So this unfortunately takes about 5 minutes. So we can talk about what it's doing. I can't show you because it's not going to load the file system until after this container is built. But our dev container has a base image that's Ubuntu. Then it installs Go at a certain version. It installs npm. Also does some. I think it sets up a user, make sure the IDs are all correct. And unfortunately, right now, you do this every single time you more or less get a new build or you get a new environment. It'll be cached. So if you came back, if we finish this thing, come back, it'll be cached and it'll go again. But the moment that file changes, the dev container file, it'll pump the cache and we'll do it all over again. So I've got a PR that moves out the dev container file and then builds it, and that's a pretty interesting way to make this work. So we'll let this keep going for a couple minutes. We already talked about the latest features in 0.8, but that'll be exciting. Get that all ready to go. I've got a new Raspberry Pi cluster coming. I'm looking forward to installing onto a remote Raspberry Pi. We'll see how that goes. It'll be an interesting experiment. The other one I want to try that's experiment is to use Daytona from Blink Shell on my iPad. So I haven't actually done the work to make that work yet, but I'd like to get that working. I think that'd be useful for visiting a coffee shop from time to time. All right, so now we're doing Go. Means we're 2/3 of the way there. You can hear my laptop or my desktop taking off. All right. This is why you need to pre-build. It is rough if you do this every single time. Okay. So now it's going to run the post create. So we have an interesting post create. It actually is 2 commands that run simultaneously. But might as well just let it finish because it will hog focus until it's done. Let's see. All right. So we got that. We're gonna get a new terminal. Make this a slightly different size. Yeah, we do have coolant in here. I thought we did. Um, Interesting. Here's the dev container. So this one goes pretty quick. It's just common utilities. It installs some packages. Docker takes a long time. Go takes a long time, and Node takes a long time. Those all take, yeah, they take 2 or 3 minutes each, depending on how fast your internet connection is. So that's why that command is so slow. So one of the commands I wanted to look at was, let's go look at, I wanted to go look at API key. Interesting. So I think it already does this, but when let's go look at that ticket I filed. So if we go back to Daytona issues, oh, they've fixed it already. The Daytona guys are so fast that I file a bug and they've already fixed it before I can fix it. Um, hmm. Well, I think that's it for today. I don't have anything else to do. Oh, oh, interesting. We don't, on Windows, lots of users don't have this directory. That's really, that's interesting. Yep, that would totally do it. I feel like we should do the Winget package, and we should depend on or potentially error if like SSH isn't there, because not everybody that has Windows installed, like most people that have Windows don't have either WSL or SSH, I think, installed by default. I think you can add it as an add-on package, but it's not installed by default. So anyway, that'll be it for today. Thanks for dropping by. I'll be back. Hopefully next week we'll have an actual project that we can do, and then that will be more interesting. So thanks for stopping by. Bye.